Right. Very good morning, everyone. Just give me a moment as I confirm, as I check if we are live or not. Um, just give me a moment. Um, right. We are live. We are live. Cool. So, welcome to Unacademy. Unacademy is today India's largest learning platform when it comes to preparing for any competitive exam. This YouTube channel is particularly for management exams such as your CAT, GMAT, and MAT, and the likes. I am Prankur Arora. I'm going to be your instructor on this journey of learning. I've been in the learning industry for a better part of the last couple of years, where I've even had the opportunity to consult with various organizations on different aspects of learning and development. Organizations such as Marico, ITC, Becton Dickinson, Interglobe, and the likes, right? And yeah, so the idea essentially here is that I'll be taking you through various aspects of verbal ability as well as reading comprehension, right? And there are quite a lot of features that add to the pedagogy of an academy. Those features include giving you access to daily live classes such as this one, where uh, you know you get to have real time interaction with your educator. You get to chat, engage in discussions, clear your doubts, and all the question and answers, they are conducted in the form of live polls, right? Which is another adrenaline rush altogether. We conduct a lot of regular live tests and quizzes as well, and the idea of these tests and quizzes is to help you uh, develop a lot of perspective about where you lie in your learning journey. Your perspective about where you are versus where you want to be in terms of your preparation. All the courses on the platform are structured courses, very much in line with your exam syllabus, to get you help to get you the kind of help you need, and to get you to get the to perform to the best of your abilities, right? And with one subscription you get unlimited access to anything and everything, all sorts of live and recorded courses that you can access from the comfort of any of your devices. We've got a plethora of educators on the platform, all of them being highly credible people who over the years have mentored thousands and thousands of aspirants successfully into various top tier management institutions, be it your IIMs, MDIs, XLRIs, you name it, they've cracked it, right? And you can start learning from these educators for free before deciding whether you want to enroll for the subscription benefits or not. New batches, new courses, they keep on going live. Plus, language is never a barrier either. We've got educators who teach in vernacular languages as well, right? So if you're not as comfortable in English, I'm pretty sure you can find somebody who will teach in a regional language that you're brought upon. Plus, you design your own schedule. You decide who are the kind of educators you want to be learning from, what are the kind of courses you want to enroll into. And with one subscription, you can access anything and everything, all kinds of live and recorded courses that you can watch from the comfort of any of your devices. And as I mentioned, the advantage here is that all interaction happens in real time, right? And as I mentioned, when we take your tests and quizzes, we give you evidence, we give you insights and data, such as, what are your topic wise scores, right? How much time you're spending on every question. All those competitive statistics will help you develop a lot of edge and a lot of perspective, and will help you do some course correction if need be in terms of your preparation, right? And also, you'll see that I'll be scribbling a lot of stuff on the class notes. All these class notes with the educator annotations, they made available to you once you subscribe to the platform. Talking of subscription, these are the various subscription models that we have. You can clearly see that as the time period of your subscription goes up, the cost of subscription per month is going down dramatically, right? And the idea here is that if you're preparing for 2021, I would recommend at least a 6 month or a 12-month journey, so that you give yourself the comfort of time to basically stretch yourself in this journey. The idea is that any kind of undertaking, such as preparation for a CAT exam, it is a huge undertaking. It is a long undertaking, right? So I would recommend at least a 6 month or a 12-month journey to basically help you get the best of everything. Having said that, let's begin with the first question of the day. We'll start with the Parajumbles question. Hit me up on the chat with your answers and then we'll discuss it. All right, so let's go through the sentences. People can get infected by handling reptiles and then touching their mouths or an open cut. At first, they look the perfect pets, exotic, quiet, and tidy. Study estimates that in 1995, a study estimates that in 1995 there were as many as 6,700 reptile caused salmonella infections. But lizards and other pets can harbor a salmonella bacterium that makes people sick. A very important thing to note here is that you know in sentence D we are mentioning salmonella bacterium, which is the noun phrase, and in C we say that a study estimates that in 1995 there were as many as 6,700 reptile caused salmonella infections. Right. So now what the should C precede D or should D precede C? Right, because that we can clearly see will define which option we go for. Right. uh, Essentially when we are talking about parajumbles, the trick to solve is that we introduce the noun first, the noun phrase first, and then we develop on it later in the paragraph, be it through pronouns, be it through you know singular or plural usage of the same noun, right, stuff like that. When we say but lizards and other pets can harbor a salmonella bacterium that makes people sick, we are introducing the noun phrase here, and then we'll come to see that a study estimates there were as many as these many cause salmonella infections. So first we'll talk of the bacteria and then we'll talk of the infections. So essentially what I'm trying to get at is that D will precede C, in that C will follow D. The only option that gives us that is option D. So B, D, C, A in that context becomes the best possible arrangement of these sentences. All right. Let's move on to the next question. One example is El Nino, the periodic catastrophe that plagues the west coast of America. It is rich in life. What is rich in life? Right? We are using a pronoun, but we need to know what that pronoun is basically a reference for. This coast is normally caressed by the cold, rich Humboldt Current. Usually, the Humboldt hugs the shore and extends 200 to 300 miles out to sea. It fosters the largest commercial fishery in the world and is the home of one of the mightiest game fish on record, the black marlin. Right, if you were able to zero in on the answer, hit me up on the chat. I'll discuss it in 30 seconds. All right. So, when we talk about this, what we have to basically figure out is that when we say this coast, what is this coast referring to? What coast are we talking about? Right? This coast stands for what? The idea is here we are introducing the coast. One example is El Nino, the periodic catastrophe that plagues the west coast of America. So we'll have A, and then we say this coast is normally caressed by the cold, rich Humboldt Current. We have C, right? Because this here clearly refers to west coast of America, rich Humboldt Current. And after that, we can have D, where we say usually the Humboldt hugs. So the idea is whenever we have a noun or a noun phrase coming in the introduction of the paragraph, then we can shorten it and use it in any way whatsoever. And that is why we'll have D come in here and not before C, because here we are not referring to Humboldt current as Humboldt current. We are saying the Humboldt hugs the shore and extends 200 to 300 miles out to sea. Right? So we are not using the complete phrase again. So that is another hint. So after D, we'll have B. It is rich in life. It fosters the largest commercial fishery in the world and is the home of one of the mightiest game fish on record, the black marlin. So A, C, D, B in that context becomes the best arrangement of these sentences. Excuse me. Alright. If you're used to having your stimulation coming from outside, your mind never develops its own habits of thinking and reflecting. Marx thought that religion was the opiate because it soothed people's pain and suffering and prevented them from rising in rebellion. If Karl Marx was alive today, he would say that television is the opiate of the people. Television and similar entertainments are even more of an opiate because of their addictive tendencies. Right. So it's very important for us to understand what we are trying to get at here. We can clearly see now a very important rule to remember. Again, I'll be repeating all these rules over and over, that whenever we talk of a paragraph, whenever we talk of a passage, and we are mentioning a person's name, an individual's name, right? It's very important to have the individual's name as complete in itself in the very beginning, and then later in the paragraph we can refer to Karl Marx as Marx or simply Karl. Right? We don't have to keep repeating the complete name again and again, but the first time we take the name, it has to be complete. Therefore, C will come before B. B will follow C in the paragraph, right? Be it immediately or through some gap, but B will definitely come in later, and C will come in first because we have to take the complete name of the gentleman, right? So that is why the only option that is giving us that is option D, right? Otherwise, in every option, B is coming before C, right? D is the only place where we have C coming first and then we have B. So CBDA, just using that rule, becomes the best arrangement of these sentences. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Alright, let's discuss this now. You should have been able to read these sentences by now. By reasoning, we mean the mental process of drawing an inference from two or more statements or going from the inference to the statements which yield that inference. Alright. So logical reasoning covers those types of questions which imply drawing an so here we have so, right? This means this is a transitionary sentence. This means that you have to have something come in before this one in order to begin this sentence with so, right? There has to be a reason for this sentence to take place, right? What is that reason? Logic means, if we take its original meaning, the science of valid reasoning. Clearly, for understanding arguments and for drawing the inference correctly, it is necessary that we should understand the statements first. Now, we can clearly see that this paragraph is trying to tell us the meaning of logical reasoning, right? Logic means, if we take its original meaning, the science of valid reasoning. Logic comes first. By reasoning, here we have introduced the concept of valid reasoning, and in A we are defining what reasoning entails. By reasoning, we mean the mental process of drawing an inference from two or more statements or going from the inference to the statements which yield that inference. Right? Then we'll have B, where we are combining the two terms, logic as well as reasoning. So, Logical reasoning covers those type of questions which imply drawing an inference from the problems. And finally, we conclude with the sentence D. Clearly, for understanding arguments and for drawing the inference correctly, it is necessary that we should understand the statements first. So CABD in that context becomes the best arrangement of these sentences. So option B is the best answer option available to us. Right? Hope you were able to solve this. Let's move on to the next question. This is a vocabulary question. A person with a long experience of any occupation. Okay, we should have been able to solve this by now. So, if we follow the process of elimination, we clearly know for a fact genius means a person who has, a lot of intellectual capability, right? So, that is not a person with a long experience of any occupation. Seasoned means somebody who's been, kind of been present for all seasons, right? Person who's been here forever. That does not necessarily mean that the same person has long experience of an occupation, so we'll eliminate season. Ambidextrous is basically, when you are equally capable of performing an activity using both your limbs. So if I'm able to write with both of my hands, then I'm ambidextrous, right? Eliminate option 4. Veteran is the correct answer. Veteran is someone who has a long experience in any profession, in any occupation, right? All right, let's follow the process of elimination again. Imaginary is something that is basically, something you're imagining, right? That does not mean severely abusive writing in journals. Eliminate one. Option 2 is speculative. Speculative is, when you, uh, when you're speculating about something, you're basically expressing, or you're doing something based on conjecture, right? It is not really based in knowledge, it is based on conjecture. So again, that has no relation to abusive writing, right? At the same time, when we have something like sarcastic, sarcastic essentially means Ironic. It typically means that you're taunting something, you're trying to ridicule somebody. Again, does not really mean, could be abusive sometimes, but does not really pertain to writing in journals. So I'll eliminate option 4 as well. We're only left with scurrilous, right? Now scurrilous is actually, it talks about spreading scandalous claims about someone, right? With the intention of damaging their reputation, right? So that is why scurrilous is the most apt word to express severely abusive writing in journals. Call upon God or any other power like law, etc., for help and protection. Okay, so uh invocation is the first one, right? What does invocation mean? Invocation means, uh, to invoke someone or something, right? And invocation is the most apt term to express this. But let's go over the other words as well, in order to eliminate them properly. Then we have involution, right? What does involution mean? Involution is basically, uh, you know, uh, when it is typically pertaining to physiology. Involution, the hint is there in the words such as evolution. Involution is basically when your organ kind of shrinks because of something like old age, right? You see old people getting really, them shrinking, their organs shrinking, them becoming closed and like a shell, right? So that is involution. Does not in any way relate to all this. Then we have inundation. Inundation is a very important word in that it is very useful as well. Inundation is basically, you know, abundance of something. That is inundation, right? Inundation is abundance of something. And in India has an inundation of cricket fans, right? So again, it does not relate to this though. And then we have revocation. Revoke, right? Revocation is basically cancellation of something, to revoke something. So revocation is that, and that is why we'll eliminate that word as well, and we move on to the next parajumbles question. The wind had savage allies. If it had not been for my closely fitted helmet, the explosions might have shattered my eardrums. The first clap of thunder came as a deafening explosion that literally shook my teeth. I did not hear the thunder, I actually felt it, an almost unbearable physical experience. I saw lightning all around me in every shape imaginable. I uh, it was raining so torrentially that I thought I would drown in midair. All right. So, very important thing here to note is that the paragraph is trying to describe a very kind of a supernatural experience where the wind is really, really strong, where we've got thunder, we have torrential rain, right? So, you have to kind of map all these things together. The first says the wind had savage allies. All right. What kind of allies are we talking about? Thunder is an ally, right? So we'll begin with B, that the first clap of thunder came as a deafening explosion that literally shook my teeth, right? The wind had savage allies. B is kind of developing on that by coming across as a savage ally, by telling us that thunder is a savage ally. Then we develop on it with C, that I did not hear the thunder. I did not hear it, I actually felt it, right? Developing on what we are saying in B, that I did not hear it, I felt it, an almost unbearable physical experience. And then we have A, right? If it had not been for my closely fitted helmet, the explosions might have shattered my eardrums, right? So B, C, A are kind of talking about the physiological experience of thunder. And then we have D, which says I saw lightning all around me in every shape imaginable. It was raining so torrentially that I thought I would drown in midair. So BCAD in that context becomes the best possible arrangement of these sentences. Alright, hope you have understood this. If you did not zero in on this answer option, let's move on to the next question. It's a reasoning question now. Hi Yogesh, welcome to the class. Try to solve this question, buddy. All right, let's look at this question. What is the question telling us? When demand for a factory's products is high, more money is spent at the factory for safety precautions and machinery maintenance than when demand is low. So there are two scenarios. One scenario is high demand, right? And the other scenario is low demand, right? And we are saying that when demand is high, more money is spent, more money spent. When demand is low, uh, lesser money spent, right? And when we are saying that when the number of on the job accidents per employee each month should be low when demand is high, because we are spending more money on safety and less money is available for safety and machinery maintenance when demand is low. So on the job accidents ideally should increase, right? Which of the following, if true about a factory when demand is high, casts the most serious doubt on the conclusion? We are saying, so understand the scenario, understand the premise again. The premise is that when we have two scenarios, the scenario is when one, when the demand is high, and two, when the demand is low. When the demand is high, the factory is spending more money on safety precautions. When demand is low, factory is spending less money on safety precautions. So therefore they are concluding that when we are spending more money, ideally on the job accidents should be low, and when we are spending less money, ideally on the job accidents should go up, right? And we have to weaken this conclusion, right? So let's follow the process of elimination and let's see how we can weaken this conclusion. Option A: if employees ask for higher wages than they do at other times, again, uh, higher wages has no correlation to on the job accidents. The passage is not establishing any relationship there, so we'll eliminate option A. Option B: its management hires new workers but lacks the time to train them properly. This is kind of it is ringing some bells, because if I'm hiring a lot of people and I'm not training them, then maybe on the job accidents will go up, right? So I'll put this on the back burner and go through other options for now. Option C: its employees are less likely to lose their jobs than they are at other times. Again, job loss and on the job safety and security and on the job accidents have not really, they don't have a correlation in the paragraph, so I'll eliminate C. D: its management sponsors a monthly safety award for each division. Ideally, instead of casting any doubts, this should be strengthening the the premise, right? This is not weakening, this is strengthening. Because if I am conducting a competition around safety, then I expect all my divisions to be extra careful and extra safe, right? So I'll eliminate D as well, therefore. Option E: old machinery replaced with modern automated. Again, if old machinery is being replaced, then ideally it should strengthen. It should not weaken the conclusion. We should not be casting any doubts. We should be kind of strengthening the conclusion with option E. Therefore, I'll eliminate E as well. And B, in that context, becomes the only viable answer option, where I'm saying that, you know what, even when the demand is high and I'm spending more money on safety, I'm hiring a lot of people, but I don't have the time to train them. So if I'm not training these people, they might have a lot of accidents, right? So therefore, sentence B, option B, casts a lot of doubts on the conclusion that I've drawn here. All right, let's move on to the next question. Choose the incorrect part. Yogesh, if you're still here, hit me up on the chat with your answer. We'll discuss it then. 4. 4 is the correct answer. It is the incorrect part because why? Contrary to popular belief, business plans they do not generate business financing. This is present tense. True, there are many kinds of financing options that require a business plan, but nobody invests in a business plan. After being turned down by VCs, we needed money to invest in our business. See, this is past tense. We needed money is past. So we are selling our home is present tense. So there is a tense mismatch here, and that is why 4 is the incorrect part. So to correct this, what will we do? We needed money to invest in our business, so we sold our home, right? Either convert the entire sentence into past tense, sold our home, or convert the entire sentence into present tense. We need money to invest in our business, so we are selling our home, right? Either convert it into past or convert it into present. Don't use both the tenses together. Good job, Yogesh. Next question. I think you were present in the special class where we solved this one, right? Quickly give me the answer so that we can move on to the next question. Okay, give it a shot, buddy. Give it a shot. A. Alright, let's go over it. But the vessel kept going away. He looked anxiously around, but there was nothing to see but the water was water and empty sky. He could now barely see her funnel and masts. What is her referring to, right? Who is her referring to? Her funnel and masts when heaved up on a high wave, he did not know for what. A breaking wave slapped him in the face, choking him. Right. All right. So if you look at the question, with a lot of focus, with the sentence with a lot of focus, but the vessel kept going away. We are talking about a ship. We are talking about the vessel, right? Funnel and mast. This was a hint that her refers to the vessel. He could now barely see her funnel and masts. So we are still talking about the vessel. So after sentence 1, we'll have see because we have a pronoun that is referring to vessel, right? He could now barely see her funnel and masts when uh, heaved up on a high wave, right? After this, after this, we'll have A because there is only one option that is giving us an opener as C. We'll have A where we say he looked anxiously around. He did not know for what. He looked anxiously around. He did not know for what. And then we have B. There was nothing to see but the water and empty sky. A breaking wave slapped him in the face, choking him. Right? So C in that context becomes the best arrangement of these sentences. So look at the paragraph now, no? But the vessel kept going away. He could now barely see her funnel and masts when heaved up on a high wave. Uh, he looked anxiously around. There was nothing to see. He looked anxiously around. He did not know for what. There was nothing to see but the water and empty sky. Right? So CADB is kind of forming a very coherent paragraph now. Right? Next question. Identify the error. C. Yes, the number again, the number is a specific number. Right? Specific number means we're talking about only one number, so uh, and have is plural, right? Have is plural. This is singular, right? So there is no subject verb agreement. We need has forced people. Good job. Next question. Reasoning question yet again. Which of the following is an assumption on which the argument depends? Okay, let's discuss this now. What is the premise here? Right? It's very important for us to understand the premise in this case. Many people suffer an allergic reaction to certain sulfites, including those that are commonly added to wine as preservatives. Right? So we are talking about allergic reaction, about sulfites, and we know for a fact that these sulfites are added to wine as preservatives. Right? However, since there are several winemakers who add sulfites to none of the wines they produce, people who would like to drink wine but are allergic to sulfites can drink wines produced by these winemakers without risking an allergic reaction. Now they are saying that there are some winemakers who don't use sulfites, right? So they are saying people who like wine but are allergic to sulfites can drink wines produced by these specific winemakers who do not use sulfites at all. Now we are using an assumption in this argument and we have to figure that assumption out. Right? Let's follow the process of elimination. Option A says these winemakers have been able to duplicate the preservative effect produced by adding sulfites by means that do not involve adding any potentially allergenic substances to their wine. Okay, Yogesh, you're saying D. All right. D says apart from sulfites, there are no substances commonly present in wine that give rise to an allergic reaction. The thing, Yogesh, is that we are only concerned about allergic reaction to sulfites. So we are not concerned about any other allergic reaction at all. The passage is only talking about allergies caused by sulfites, right? That is why D will not be the answer. Look at E. E says sulfites are not naturally present in wines produced by these winemakers in amounts large enough to produce an allergic reaction in someone who drinks these wines. Right? This is the assumption on which the argument depends. Which of the following is an assumption? What is the assumption? That the wine that we'll be serving to people जिसमें हम लोग external sulfites नहीं add कर रहे हैं, We are assuming that these wines will not contain sulfites at all. What if there are naturally occurring sulfites present in these wines? Right? What if that is the case? D is eliminated because we are not concerned about any other thing, any other substances we are not concerned about. We are only concerned about sulfites. Okay, this is a vocabulary question. Quickly let me know what you think is the answer. 2 is the correct answer. Well done. Identify the error. The journalist along with the camera crew. Yes, this should be was. This is an additive phrase. The journalist along with the camera crew was kidnapped by the militants last night. Choose the incorrect paths. K is capital and kidnapped. 4. Also, 4 and 1. Amrita, as well as her parents, talks about, as well as is an additive phrase too. Amrita is singular. Amrita, as well as her parents, talks about the experience of living under the emergency rule. 21 months from June 1975 to March 1977. We are talking about a time period, so we'll use singular verb. 21 months is a time period. So 21 months is a long time to create scars in a young democracy. So 1 as well as 4 are the incorrect parts in this case. Let's move on to the next question. B or D? Okay. Um Some analysts contend that true capitalism exists only when the ownership of both property and the means of production is regarded. Now, whenever we have to check for subject verb agreement, Yogesh, what is the trick to doing that is you convert the verb into question, right? Is regarded as, what is regarded? What is regarded? Right? When you convert the verb into a question and you look for the answer, you will find out the subject. You will figure out the subject. What is regarded as an inalienable right? Ownership is regarded, right? Ownership is regarded as an inalienable right, right? Some analysts contend that true capitalism exists only when ownership of both property and the means of production is regarded. What is regarded? Ownership is regarded. Ownership as the subject is singular. Ownership is a singular subject, right? Ownership is regarded as an inalienable right, right? Ownership is singular, so we'll eliminate B and D because these are plural verbs, right? Ownership is singular, so we need a singular verb. Is regarded is correct. Now, out of this, we have to look for parallelism. Here, now we have to look for parallelism. Is regarded as X, not as Y. That is the correlative that it is using here. As X, not as Y, is regarded as an inalienable right of an individual. We did not need an apostrophe S here. When we are saying is regarded as an inalienable right of an individual, we do not need an apostrophe S. That is redundancy. That is why we'll eliminate option A. Is regarded as an individual's inalienable right, not as a license granted by government and revocable at whim, seems to be the correct answer. Is regarded as the inalienable rights of an individual. Is regarded as the means specific, so right hona chahiye, not rights, right? Plus not when it is not it is not parallel with is regarded as X, right? So we'll eliminate option E as well. C is the most appropriate answer option here, which is following the parallelism plus as an individual's inalienable right is the correct construction grammatically. All right. The results of the study clearly indicates the results is plural exactly. Results indicate a reducing or indicate a reduction, Yogesh? Indicate a reduction. The results of the study clearly indicate a reduction in the number of usable pounds that can be salvaged from an average ton of recyclable goods. Yes. Pass. Okay. All right. The bank holds 3 billion in loans that are seriously delinquent or in such trouble that, so we are talking about the bank. The bank is singular, right? The bank is singular. That they do not expect payments when due. They is a plural verb, right? We have a singular bank and we have a plural pronoun for it. So we'll eliminate option 1. We're left with options 2, 3, and 4. It does not expect payments when it is due. Now, payments is a plural object. Payments is plural, right? And it is a singular pronoun. It is singular and payments is plural. So, it cannot be referencing to payments. So, we'll eliminate option 3 as well. It does not expect payments to be made when they are due. They refers to payments. It refers to bank. So 4 seems like the best answer because this pronoun is in tandem with bank. Bank is singular, so it is singular. Payments is plural, so they is also plural. We'll eliminate option 2. Payments are not to be expected to be paid when due because this is unnecessary passive construction, right? Our sentence is an active voice. This is passive voice. So we cannot mismatch the voice, right? So fourth is the best answer because the pronouns have correct references. All right. Let's begin with a comprehension now. Quickly read this paragraph. Let me know when you're done and we'll move on to the next one then. You're able to read it, right? It is visible properly. Cool. All right. Paragraph 2. All right. Paragraph 3. Cool. I think this is the concluding paragraph. Question 1. At a conference on folk forms, the author of the passage is least likely to agree with which one of the following views? Okay. Yogesh, what do you think is the answer here? This is a slightly complex passage. This is basically a part of last year's CAT exam. This passage was a part of last year's CAT exam. A slightly complex passage. We can clearly see. Let me take you back to the paragraph. Right. Look at this. Folk songs Folk songs existed in constant transformation, a living example of an art form in a perpetual state of renewal. One man sings a song and then the others sing it after him, changing what they do not like, is the most concise summary. He compared each rendition of a ballad to an acorn falling from an oak tree. Every subsequent iteration sows the song anew. But there is tension in newness. But there is tension in newness, right? Folk forms, in their ability to constantly adapt to the changing world, exhibit an unusual poise and homogeneity with each change. Exhibit an unusual poise and homogeneity with each change is kind of the opposite of what the author was trying to tell us, that with every new rendition, there is a lot of newness and there is a tension that comes with that newness, right? So, one is the correct answer option. Yes. Primary purpose of the reference to William Morris and his floral prints is to show what? Look at the options, then I'll take you back to the passage. Alright, let me take you back to the passage. Wait. Yeah, William Morris and his floral prints. William Morris. Part-2. Okay. Effusive floral prints of the radical William Morris. Right, let's figure out what the answer option can be now. B is the correct answer, that what is once regarded as radical can later be seen as conformist. Good job. Next question. The author says that folk may often appear a cozy fossilized form because Okay. All right. Let me take you back to the question now. Yes. See, it's nostalgic association with industrial past is the correct answer. What about this one? Cannot be inferred from the passage. Right. You move on to the next paragraph, Yogesh. Right. I'll take you back to the question now. It reinforced Cecil Sharp's observation about folks' constant transformation. Yes. Right. Freedom and rebellion were popular themes. Exactly. The paragraph was telling us that they were popular themes. C is the correct answer. Well done. It cannot be inferred. Electrification would not have happened without the influence. See, we know electrification happened and rock music happened, but would not have happened. Cause effect relationship is not something the author established. So this cannot be inferred. Well done. Let's move on to the next question. All of the following are causes for plurality and diversity within the British folk tradition except. Except. Answer 2. British folk continues to have traces of pagan influence from the dark. So, tell you what, look at this. Wait. Hmm. Mm, There was some reference to the Dark Ages, yes. Folk is a sonic, shabby chic containing elements of the uncanny and eerie as well as an antique veneer, a whiff of Britain's heathen Dark Ages. Right? So that reference is there. The idea is that when you look at the question, when you look at the question, fluidity owing to oral transmission is a cause of plurality and diversity. It continues to have traces of pagan influence from the Dark Ages. That mention has also been made in the passage by the author. That British folk forms can be traced to the remote past of the country, that has also been basically referenced to in the passage. Paradoxically, folk forms are both popular and unpopular. This has no bearing on the plurality and diversity, right? How folk forms are both popular and unpopular, it is irrelevant to what caused plurality and diversity in the British folk tradition. All right, so this irrelevance will cause the fourth one to be the answer option here. All right, well, this we come to the end of today's class. Thank you so much for joining in, Yogesh. I'll be back tomorrow at same time, 11 o'clock. We'll go over more previous year questions. All right, so do join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. Yes, it is tough. I agree. I agree, Yogesh. It is kind of tough to do comprehensions like this. Right? That is why I only keep one comprehension in every class, not more than that. Right? Because otherwise it becomes very tough to, maintain the tonality, maintain the regularity. All right. See you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, stay safe, stay strong.